I can't do it. We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
This is a Kmart production, brought to you by Dudzik Chiropractic and MJB Electric. Welcome to ZaBillsPodcast. If this is your first time, we discuss the Bills games while we review two different Buffalo pizzas. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Listener's discretion is advised. ZaBillsPodcast.
Welcome back to another victorious Tuesday after a Bills win against the Dolphins. Although we won, I wasn't overly impressed. Thank God for Bass, right? Bass's ass, not no more.
He came through. Got to give it to him.
Right. Buffalo fans, we can beat on him when he screws up or misses an extra point or two, but when he kicks a 61-yard game-winning field goal, I mean, we got to give him love.
You know, this is the thing about the Bass kick at the end. It's 61 yards. It's amazing. It was right down the middle. His best kick he's ever had, probably. Could have went for 70 yards even.
Probably.
But if he doesn't miss the kick, is that really bad coaching? Because
if he does miss the kick?
If he misses the kick.
Oh, yeah, to even go for it?
To go for it, yeah, because you're giving the Dolphins the ball at like the 50-ish yard line.
Yeah, but it was 5 seconds.
The Dolphins have one of the best kickers there are. And like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I don't know. I mean, obviously, maybe shouldn't have brought this up right now.
No, it's a fair question.
It is.
Because we're ripping the Bills coaching staff because, again, this seems to be their Achilles heel. Their inability to get the game where it needs to be, whether it's closer or, but this one, everything they did right and it paid off with a win.
And it's a truly valid question because, honestly, that I hadn't even thought of up until you asked it because the defense didn't stop anybody all day.
Yeah, nothing.
They had the one turnover that you mentioned earlier with the fumble, which was nice.
Yeah.
But they didn't stop them the rest of the day.
Yeah.
They were not very good.
Not at all. So it made me think about it a little bit, so I was just wondering if anybody else thought the same way I did.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, kicked a 61-yard field goal. It's amazing. Great. Everybody's happy. Everybody goes home happy that day. But I guess, when you're thinking about talking about stuff on a podcast, this is something to make you think a little bit,
It shows you how much real confidence they actually do have in the guy. I mean, to even let him go out there and try with the game on the line pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was glad to see all the stuff like after the game, when, they were talking in the locker room and all that. Like, that's nice to see. It's all good to see. I think we've all been pretty much Bass haters for the most part. And I think that you have to give him his day. He had a good day. He missed an extra point, but whatever, you have to give him the day. I still think that I'm not sure if he is that great, but
how many games in a row is it now that he's missed a kick?
Almost every game there's been a kick.
Yeah.
I mean, we bring it up when there isn't because it's amazing.
Speaking of kickers, trivia, who did Bass overtake as the Bills' longest field goal previous?
Oh,
Lindell.
So that was the longest Bills field goal ever, 61? That was the longest ever?
The longest one
I didn't know that. Oh, good for him. I still don't think
I would
he's
say
very
Christie, but I'm not. There we go.
Steve
All right.
Christie. How long and what year?
I would say 58.
Close.
The year,
I believe it was a 59.
94-ish?
Very close, 93, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super Bowl Buffalo Bills.
That's good stuff.
That was the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Well, against two.
Against the Cowboys.
Oh, first or second?
The second time.
Oh, okay.
The second ass whooping.
Yeah.
One of those was somewhat close when you go back and look
Yeah,
at the
the second one was close.
but it was never in doubt.
But the first one, it was just like we talked about the Ravens game earlier in the year. You just got to throw it away because it was so unbelievably horrible, except for that Don Beebe play.
Yeah.
That's how I remember Super Bowl 27, the Don Beebe play. Because if not, I'll just cry every day. It's so good.
Okay, what direction do you guys want to go first? Do you want to talk Bills' offensive kind of slow start and not consistently firing? They come out with the same scripted 10, 15 plays that still don't work. Teams have it figured out before we even play. Do you want to talk about defensive line? Do the Bills should they do something? Should they have done something? Because at this point, Bills still have not done anything in the trade deadline.
Yeah, the trade deadline got over today at 4 was the deadline, and I'm looking at it right now, and the big trades of the day, the Bills are nowhere to be seen.
Okay, so they must have enough faith in what they have, or they just can't afford to do anything.
Which is concerning because the D-line got absolutely handled in this game.
Did Tua get sacked at all?
No.
I don't think so.
He barely got pressured.
Yeah.
Oh.
He made all but 3 of his completions.
And we were all thinking coming into this game that the guy might get hurt again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of those incompletions was like a throwaway.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty efficient, right?
Yeah.
His stats are pretty good. Like,
But the ball was out fast. Almost.
Oh, well, yeah,
3 to 4 seconds gone.
Yeah. And I mean, I think even against a good defensive line, they probably would get to him once or twice. But our defense had no pressure whatsoever. And so, I think at that point you have to kind of pick somebody up just for depth, if nothing else. And they didn't do anything at all. So that kind of makes you wonder. Like, I feel like a guy who I never heard of before today, from the Packers, Preston Smith. He went from the Packers to the Steelers today. Never heard of him before today. He can't be making that much money, right?
probably not.
You would think.
So do you assume that the Bills just couldn't afford to do anything?
That's
like
what I would assume.
we should think that they tried to do something but couldn't figure anything out. Didn't Bean say he wasn't done after the Cooper?
That's what he said.
He
but
might be referring to free agency.
Okay. Well, you released
Something cheap
Edwards
down the
because
road.
nobody wanted him in a trade. What? I guess we're going to skip around a little bit because this is on my mind. Like squirrel. Curtis Samuel. What the hell is going on with that guy? Why cannot we get him going in this offense?
I don't know. I don't know if it's we can't get him going or he can't get going.
Yeah.
Because at some point you really got to ask the question. Now, I always thought that he was a good player. I thought he got hurt too much, but I thought he was a good player. But he has 10 catches on the year, I think.
Wrong player for our system?
Yeah.
Maybe, but I don't think he is. I think I when he got signed last year, I thought that he was perfect for our system because he kind of does a few things well.
Yeah.
And he even from the wide receiver spot, he runs the ball a little bit here and there, and really haven't I think we tried that a few times early in the year, nothing since. So he just has been absolutely nothing. I don't think he even had a catch on Sunday.
He had one target.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's 12 for 92 on the year.
Yeah.
Whoa. He doesn't even have 100 yards?
No.
How many games have we played? 8?
9.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm going to take it in a different direction.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think it's because Shakir is having such an amazing season. They overlap a little bit in terms of what they can provide for you. And Shakir has been full value. I think he's dropped 2 or 3 passes the entire season.
Don't you think you would love to utilize 2 Shakirs?
I don't know though. I mean, I guess
Or
so.
Shakir the only guy that can get separation?
I mean, he's fit like a glove, to be brutally honest with you. And you know what? They have overlap in what they bring to a team. So I don't. If it ain't broke, don't fix it type mentality. I think that has more to do with it than where is this guy? Can he not play football? You've got the guy in front of you, the leading actor. If you're the backup, is stunning. Is having night after night of stunning performances. He just can't crack the lineup because you've got the guy in front of you who's having a season of a lifetime.
Well, and honestly, just looking
Or is he
at
hurt?
some other players too, Mac Hollins only has 12 receptions on the year.
Does he have 100 yards?
111. So not that much over, but the glaring thing that's different with him, 3 touchdowns.
Right.
So he's been contributing and a little bit productive as far as that's concerned and somebody you can rely on. Samuel, he's just nothing. He's nobody out there.
And Mac Hollins had that muff punt. Was it Seattle, I think?
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah. And so I mean, he's out there in different ways, and I've noticed Mac Hollins block quite a bit too.
Yep.
Which you got to love from a wide receiver, especially if he isn't really catching that much. At least he's throwing his body out there.
Kind of Dawson Knox effects, right?
Yeah.
Dawson Knox effect.
So is the Bills really missing Cooper right now?
I mean, I think so. I heard he's day to day, so I would assume that we'll have him back soon. But
It just baffles me that they struggle to get Curtis Samuel going. It's a good player,
yeah,
but
that's
not here.
Yeah,
Because
maybe he's more hurt than we think.
well, right.
Just because he's playing doesn't mean he's not hurt. So
Right.
maybe I don't know.
I mean, is he that good though?
Dennis said he was a 1,000-yard receiver last year in Washington.
Yeah.
Was he their number one guy?
I mean,
I think
this says 613.
I think it was a couple years ago. I think
His highest year was 851 in Carolina. So he's all right, but I mean, he's been playing since 2017. He's not young. So
I guess my concerns are: is this offense that we're seeing right now good enough to go the distance in the playoffs?
No, not against
Playoffs?
I don't think.
Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
I think right now against who you have to beat, they don't look like it. I mean, right now to me, it runs through Baltimore.
It almost looks like they're struggling to win some of these games at times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we talked about on the last pod about how like the Dolphins game, I think we all thought that it wasn't going to be close, but I think that the division game is what came up to it.
Yeah.
So division games go one of two ways. Usually it's closer than what you think, or it's just way further apart than you think.
What if the Bills put up a same performance against the Colts coming up that they
Then
just
I'm worried.
did?
I'm definitely worried because I feel like the Colts, although their defense is decent,
Yeah.
they should still be able to do what they have to do, and not really give it too much of a worry. The thing that I'm worried about against the Colts is the Colts running game. Jonathan Taylor, he didn't do anything the other night against Minnesota, but he's very good for the most part.
And we don't have a very great running defense.
Horrible. Swiss cheese.
Do the Colts have threats in the air though? Do they have any receivers that we should be worried about? Well, they got Michael Pittman, who he's been hurt.
Yeah.
He's up and down.
They have Josh Downs, who's played pretty well.
Yeah.
But nothing, I mean, not like spectacular, like nothing that you would have to be like, oh, geez, we got to really watch him.
Because I wonder if this is more of like a Seattle type game for us where you can kind of focus on the run a little bit more and just kind of not worry about the passing game so much.
Yeah, see, I think it is kind of like Seattle. That's actually pretty good complimentary to say that.
He is on a
I am
podcast.
pretty good.
Yeah, well, there you go. You talk for a living, right?
Yeah.
So I think that Flacco kind of worries me a little bit. I'd rather see Anthony Richardson than Flacco myself, but I think he's old now. He's like 40, I think, right?
39
That's
or 40.
like way over the hill. So,
I can't imagine he's going
that
to.
was sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's going to really torch us.
I'm going to push back a little bit.
Oh, here we go.
The
Why?
offense, because you know what? The offense was supposed to struggle against Seattle. Seattle had a really good defense out there in terms of the pass and the run, and they walked right over them. At no point in time with the Dolphins, and that's kind of maybe been a overarching theme with the Bills this year, there's been a big brother, little brother mentality with every divisional game. Yeah, they might have been close. And I think the Dolphins had a lot to prove, not for this season, but for next season, to send a message to the Buffalo Bills. You're not going to push us around. And they brought their A game. They brought their A game to our stadium. But at no point in time did I ever feel like, oh my God, we might lose.
In this past game?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that a lot.
did you
of
watch
times.
it?
I watched the whole thing. And you know
I
what?
thought you were at a bowling match.
I watched it at the bowling match, though the screen was pretty blue. But I saw the whole second half at home. They looked like from the second half on in complete control.
Well, the second half was much different than the first half.
Which has been the running theme, and they've been
Yeah.
able to pull it off. I with all there's 7 wins. I never once thought, oh, they're going to cough this up. This is going to be the team they gag it away against. And you know what? Yeah, they struggled against 2 quality teams, but they're still 7-2.
Yeah.
I think this offense can go the distance. I think there's a lot of weapons there. You've got a stable, multiple running backs that can bring it.
I do agree with the running game.
You have a running game for the first time in probably the Josh Allen era that's reliable. You've got depth to the receiver core right now. You got 2 very capable tight ends. I mean, if we're beating on Samuel, think of all the weapons Josh Allen has at his disposal. I mean, how many plays do you get in an actual game on offense? 60, 70, 80?
60 or 70.
60, 70, right? So, I mean, how many can really? You're running it. Josh is taking it. You've got different receivers. Sky's the limit.
I'm not as optimistic. I think that they'd be all right to through the playoffs, but I don't know if they'll be able to go the distance. One thing that I saw today or yesterday on Facebook was that do you guys remember a couple years ago in 2022 when it was real cold out for the I think it was like December 15th. It was Week 15 game. It was in December. The Dolphins were in Buffalo.
Yes.
And it was real cold. We got a little snow that day. And the Dolphins were wearing T-shirts that were saying, I wish it was cold. I wish it were colder.
Yeah.
And so I didn't fact check this, but it says, since wearing the T-shirt, I wish it was colder out, mocking the Buffalo Bills before their 2022 Week 15 game, Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins are 0-6 against the Bills with a point differential of -65.
Yeah.
So, I think that like stuff like that kind of goes into the division game. So I'm kind of thinking that's what happened to us, that, it was a division game and
Sure.
just, tensions run high and things like that. But I would like to see what Amari Cooper has to say with, being healthy and having the full playbook. I think that the first game against the Titans, he got there like that week, and then against the Seahawks, I think that's when he got hurt, and so he only caught like 1 or 2 passes, I think,
Right.
And and then this game he didn't play at all. So next week I would like to see what he has to say, having the full playbook and all that.
Yeah, because I don't want to rain on anyone's parade, but DeAndre Hopkins in Kansas City is looking pretty good,
He sure is.
which sucks.
Yeah, I think we talk about Amari Cooper opening up the Bills offense, which I think he does, but I think that he does in Kansas City, and I think that made Travis Kelce all the more better. It just kind of opens things up more, and so it'll be interesting in 2 weeks for sure.
Yeah, but between him, Kelsey, Worthy, and Kareem Hunt, who's looking like he used to,
Yeah.
it's looking like a better offense than they've had over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, they put up 30. I mean, we talked earlier off air about the overtime game last night against Tampa Bay, but they still scored 30 points. That's pretty good.
Is the DeAndre Hopkins pickup a better move than Cooper for Buffalo?
I don't know what the money situation is with that. I doubt we could have.
I think Cooper was
him.
perfect.
Yeah.
Because the money was just right, and I felt like he was a really good player, and he's not of the Stephon Diggs,
Sure.
esque, I guess I would say, about him wanting for the ball and things like that. So I guess that's yet to be seen, but,
I mean, is Hopkins playing out better than Cooper so far?
I mean, Hopkins had a good game yesterday. Cooper hasn't really done that for us yet. He scored a touchdown in that one game, but
Right.
he also was hurt. So, it's kind of hard to say. After this week's games, then I guess we would have more of a more games to talk about, more games to see how they do with each team.
Kyle, what is the running percentage of the Bills making the playoffs as it stands in Week 9?
I just saw something that said 99.9.
Don't care. I don't care about Cooper. I don't care about anybody until it gets to the playoffs.
Okay, so that being said, are we going to hear you come out and say that you have to eat crow after your statement last week about Bills and free agency, trade deadline, D-tackle? You told me absolutely not.
I will. Oh, I'll. Well, yeah. I mean, obviously injuries piled up. You want as much depth as humanly possible. My only pushback with that one was if you're going to go D-line, you are going to basically have to. You're not going to be able to make other moves because of the cap. I want them to go all in, but the cap says otherwise. So if you're going to invest, you have X amount of dollars. If we're going to go in the D-line, it really limits what else we can do.
Okay.
And I thought with Von Miller coming back, you had.
Did Von Miller do anything?
No. He did push a guy back into Tua in one play. I watched that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he was out there for
at Oliver?
4 plays.
Didn't even see him.
Daquan Jones.
No.
No,
Didn't see him.
like
Epinesa.
I saw him on his ass.
Rousseau.
Yes, Rousseau had a good game.
Rousseau, yeah. And the ending play where Miami kind of dumped it off, and then they kind of did the thing where they
Oh, yeah, he chased Waddle.
He chased
Waddle.
down
Waddle.
who Waddle's a top wide receiver.
Yeah.
I'd say top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good for him to chase him down and tackle him like that.
Yeah, bottom of the defensive score sheet, if you're keeping track at home, Ed Oliver, Casey Tuhill, Von Miller, bottom 3, which is not great. Top of the score sheet, Dorian Williams, which he's everywhere.
Yeah.
Hamlin, Rapp, Bernard, and then you finally get somebody online, Rousseau. Then Elam, Taron Johnson, Rasul Douglas. Like, these guys, unfortunately, in the secondary are making all the tackles because
Your
they're
D-line's
running
letting-
all over them.
Yeah.
They're soft on coverage.
Yep.
Yeah, but Russo's playing like as a contract year. He's had 15 pressures in the last 2 games alone.
I would love those 15 pressures to turn like 3 sacks.
I get that. I do get that. But the strategy, they have a strategy going in. Again, whether it's contained, whether it's not to give it the big play, whether it's to stop the run, whatever. You can't always just let a guy go and go.
Right, but I guess if there was a follow-up stat to how he is the most pressures in the NFL, and then those pressures lead to
Sure.
third down conversions not being converted,
Right.
I would be like, oh my God, that's awesome because he's pressuring them. He's throwing balls away, like he's being disruptive.
Well, my pushback on that, to steal a, Seanism, is you need somebody else on the line to do something. Though.
No shit.
He can't just pressure from one side and then everybody
Yeah.
just moves away from it.
Right.
So you need it to come together here and
Right.
collapse the pocket.
I think the best thing I saw from the defense was Taron Johnson punching the ball out on that fumble.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times you see fumbles, and sometimes it's good form tackling, not very often, but sometimes. And then sometimes people just drop the ball, rain, whatever. You rarely see like a punch out like that. TJ Watt did it a few weeks ago, I think, and you see it every now and then, but you saw him actually punch the ball out. And it's just what the Bills needed, and that from that point on, it was a different game.
It was a momentum changer right
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
That point, it was never in doubt. The Bills had the momentum. They had the advantage.
Yeah.
Toronto, I'm sorry. Dolphins had to kind of claw their way back in to get that tie, which set the stage up for Bass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, overall, I thought it looked like the D-line struggled. It looked like they couldn't stop the run, but it was a bend but don't break game. I think we would. It goes down as a trap game, but we ended up winning. It's a game. Last year we don't win, and we shake our heads, we make excuses, and I want to give credit too to the coaching staff going for it on 4th down. That's big boy football right there. McDaniels settled for the field goal for the one series, but that was a gutsy call by McDermott. He's made a couple of them this season in terms of going for it. When your guy's Josh Allen,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
by all means, but it was an absolute gutsy call that could have blown up right in his face, taking points off the board instead of taking it right there, and it paid off.
Yeah.
I thought I saw something or heard something that the Bills have one of the, if not the highest, 4th down conversion rates in the league.
I heard the same thing. Yeah.
So it's impressive, A, that they're going for it, and B, that they're getting it.
Yeah, and I think that leads to your point, Sean, too, about coaching, is that they're doing it in positions or spots where they can get it, where it's normal to get it. So I think that helps too.
Mm-hmm. And to actually give some kudos to the defense, they said that they were also the tops and stopping teams on 4th down also, which they have done a lot.
Yes.
The Seattle game was huge for that. But some kudos to them, at least coming up big on 4th downs. They have been able to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
It was a bender. I think to summarize, the Bills' defense has been a bend but don't break mentality.
Yeah. I just don't know. I don't think that's going to work against better teams.
I would agree.
Unfortunately.
I think they broke a little bit more this week than they had in the past.
For sure.
But I agree with what you're saying. I think you're right that last year we don't win that game.
Right.
And I think that we're complaining, we're nitpicking about a game that we won in the last few seconds. So, usually you would be, I think 10 years ago, we'd be like going crazy. Like we just won the Super Bowl. So, but I think things are different now. We actually made the playoffs. So,
Who here held their breath when Tua almost replicated the same exact play where he was running for a 1st down and he went head first?
Didn't see the play.
Yep. Right at the end of the game.
Oh.
It was like 3rd and 13 or 14. He picked up the 15 yards.
Yeah.
Right at the
It was
end.
the one that they challenged that was clearly
Yeah.
1st down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Which that
McDermott
was bad
decided to
coaching.
challenge it. That was
That's a
terrible.
bad
Wasted a
challenge.
timeout.
Right.
that's a waste of timeout. And it's one of the worst. So a ball placement is one of the worst things to challenge.
Right.
Because they usually
it's
push
so
it
hard. Yeah.
forward.
It's so hard to actually figure it out.
And you hired that referee as a
Right.
guy upstairs, and he's telling you to challenge that shit?
Yeah, but here's what I'm going to tell
What,
you.
what?
I'll push back on that one, too.
Oh, my
it looked like a terrible challenge, but if the Bills are right, they win the game right there. It's over.
They were wrong.
I get it. But it was worth the gamble because if it was 50-50 And
Did you
But it
think
wasn't
it was close
50-50.
enough to
That's the
challenge it?
problem.
I understood what they were going. They were looking at the calf, where the calf landed, not the knee.
Do you think
I
it
didn't
was
think it was
worth
close.
it?
I don't think it was close either, but I'm trying to tell you the benefits
Enough
of
said.
what they were thinking.
I'm going to push back on your pushback.
And say
I'm
it
just
wasn't
gonna say,
50-50.
I'm like, if they stop them there, it's over. The game's over.
Yes, but I just can't believe, again, a challenge is made when it shouldn't have been
Right,
made. And you hired a guy specifically that used to be a referee for a living.
And the game's so tight, the timeouts were at a premium, I think, at that time.
Bills always seem to not have enough timeouts when they need them.
Yeah.
But I agree. It was a
You know
terrible
what?
challenge.
You know what? I'm going to give kudos to Sean McDermott. It's not very often this happens. He has not done the McDermott lately.
That's true. Yeah.
The drawing off sides, bullshit, punt, not punt, bullshit. Like he hasn't done it this year. And I'm
Right.
very proud he hasn't done it
Right.
because that aggravates the shit out of me.
They got him, though. A hard count. Wasn't Josh Allen? This game, he had a hard count.
Yeah,
They drew the guy.
he did get
Yeah,
them,
we did,
but
yeah.
but they,
That-
they
I
were
know,
going to
that
run the
wasn't
play.
Kyle's
But
play.
yes, they did actually draw them off sides, which is pretty
Yeah.
good. One other thing I noted in this game was penalties were better.
Yes.
They were.
They only had 4 penalties, at least charged penalties in this game, which was, I don't know, 10 less than they've had like every other game.
Yeah.
It
Right.
seems. Yeah, so-
The one against Deion Dawkins.
And
I don't-
the two
I
were
like to shit on
bullshit.
Deion Dawkins a lot, but
With that
it was-
ridiculous haircut.
Yeah, absolutely, it's ridiculous.
That's like a jester's hat.
Put a shirt on too. But it was definitely not a penalty at all. Not one bit. I don't know how it was called a penalty. And then I
Was
think
that the
they might have-
back-to-back holding calls?
Yes.
Yeah, and neither of them were.
Neither, yeah, and they. I think at one point they got together to talk. The refs got to talk about it, and they still came up with it was a penalty. So I don't know what game they were watching, but
Yeah, that was wild.
I don't know. I feel like things like that are so frustrating because it wasn't like it was very clear that it wasn't a penalty. And
It's
so
like
I
you're
think
looking
there's
for
a lot of
something.
there's a lot of times where it can be, it can't be, especially holding. It can be, it can't be. You know, I don't know. We'll see. That was clear as day to me that it wasn't,
And it pulled 4 points off the board.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, boy.
Kyle,
What?
did your power go out again?
Geez, sounds like someone didn't pay the electric bill.
Well, it's probably that outlet that I tried to install for the arcade machine in our studio. But I'll tell you what, I definitely paid it because it's not like I'm spending money on pizzas.
Kyle, you better call Mike at MJB Electric at 716-465-5017.
You know what, Dennis? That is a fantastic idea.
I'm full of them.
All right, go Bills.
Go Bills.
Oh, it's back on. Good.
Okay, power's back. Thank God. Sean, what?
But yeah, so honestly, without those 2 calls, you have 2 penalties in the game, which
Yeah.
would have been pretty awesome.
we got to talk about the player of the game. Jordan Poyer again shows up for the Buffalo Bills.
What a fucking
That's
idiot.
the best player on the Bills.
He did that shit with us, and it killed you. And he was one of us. So it's like, all right, well, whatever. Hopefully, it doesn't kill us too bad. But this time, yeah,
What's that?
it's from Finding Nemo, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
From when they're
When they're in
fish
tank,
tank?
initiating them?
Yeah.
Shark Tank.
I mean, Poyer lost the game for them.
Yeah.
That was the back-breaking play. That's a back-breaking play. In the
Yeah,
game,
I mean,
would say.
hopefully he hasn't hurt Coleman too bad. Honestly,
Yeah.
Now, did you watch the Lions game? Mm-hmm. A
No,
dude
not
did the
really.
exact same hit and got ejected.
Yep, that one.
Poyer should have been ejected too.
I don't know about that.
Pushing back.
This one, I can see why they did it because the ball was out so much earlier in the Detroit
So it
game.
was a late hit to the head.
I thought that it was much later. He could have pulled up a little bit. I know they say like football is a fast game, and like that's where I give Poyer a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. This one, the ball was clearly not being caught; it was like falling away, and he just went in hard, and
Yeah.
it looked a lot worse. Tom Brady, in all his infinite glory, said he didn't think the guy should have been tossed, but he was also like one of the worst broadcasters I ever heard. So, and I hate him. So,
Yeah.
I hate him too. Just want to put that on record.
yeah.
I guess I don't hate him as much anymore.
I'm not man crush worthy of Tom Brady, but yeah. Take it or leave him.
You're telling so when Poyer hit that guy, was the catch still being made?
the ball was still in the mix there. He wasn't catching it, but it was kind of falling out at the time.
Yeah,
Okay.
close
The
enough.
Detroit one, the ball was away from.
All right.
It doesn't matter.
Because the actual impact, I think, of Poyer's hit was worse than the Detroit guys.
Yeah.
That might-
impact.
Yeah.
If you're showing the 32 other franchises at the start of the year what is going to get you an unnecessary roughness hit to the head, that is a textbook.
Poyer's or the Detroit?
Poyer's, hands down.
And
He
Poyer
better
did
be-
the
the crown of the
almost
helmet.
The same thing.
I almost immediately thought maybe not getting kicked out of the game, but
He's
I'm like,
definitely getting fined.
Yeah, definitely fine right there. Crown of the helmet to another player's helmet while he's engaged with another player. That's what I
Intentionally.
show all 32 franchises what not to do.
And that was intentional.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It was one of the few times that I've ever.
And then
My
he had
wife
that-
doesn't watch a whole lot of football. It was one of the few times my wife was like, "What is that?" Like she actually couldn't believe it. So
And then he had that shit-eating grin after it.
yeah. And he did the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but very similar. The first game we played the Dolphins, week 2. I forget who the receiver was, but he hit him more in the
It was
head,
Shakir.
chest area.
I think it was Shakir.
Yeah. It was very similar. So, he continuously does this, and,
That's how he gets hurt, though. I mean, that's why he was
Right.
always so hit or miss.
Yes.
yeah.
Speaking of fines and these hits, did you see like Buffalo Joe was getting fined for his hit in the Seattle game? I think it was.
And
Was it
Fitz
Seattle?
came to the rescue.
Yeah,
right?
Fitz said he's like, give me his info. I'm paying for that.
Yeah,
like he
yeah.
shouldn't be paying for anything.
That's great.
Because I think it was like 4,000 and change or something
Yeah.
like that. And I went back and watched the play, and I didn't really see why. I mean, maybe there was slight contact, but there was no flag on the play. So
Well, see, that always kind of makes you wonder too. That always kind of makes you wonder too. I'd be turned off over here. I don't know what's going on here.
I was pouring a
was getting
beverage.
myself turned off.
I was pouring myself a beverage, and you guys are connected. Sorry.
There we go.
I need to hire somebody for this.
I
You
forgot
need
what
a
the hell I was going to say
bartender down
there.
here, that's
All
for
right,
sure.
well, whatever I was going to say wasn't that great. I'm sure. Maybe I'll remember.
we're
it.
talking about Buffalo Joe and his penalty, and
It makes you think about how when they don't call it a penalty in the game and yet they
Right.
get fined, shouldn't they make that? Should they teach the refs more to make that a penalty during the game?
right.
That kind of thing. Maybe they do.
Maybe they
but
do, but-
they're doing a piss poor job, in my opinion.
It's tough to see every call though. Like
Yeah,
I know there's
it
a bunch of referees out there, but you're going to miss them. It's just that's the nature of any sport. You're going to miss a couple of calls here. or
Yeah,
there.
you are.
What you don't do is you don't miss it on instant replay.
I'm going to push back.
Yes, sir.
This is an opportunity for them to have the referee in the sky.
They do.
That's right.
And that's actually been pretty nice,
They do.
actually. So the what do they call that?
Referee in the sky?
They say replay assist.
Yeah.
I've seen a ton of games where they turn something over real quick,
Really
and
quick.
they say replay assist shows that was incomplete pass, and they move on.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's pretty good. I mean, they're moving the game along.
Mm-hmm.
They're always right from what I've seen,
Yeah.
and it doesn't waste any challenges either.
No,
Yeah.
right.
So I like it so far.
And I don't think the refs can always catch everything. They can't clearly, but I think that there's a big difference between the refs trying to make the game about them and missing a call here or there. I think there's a big difference. I think a lot of them are actual penalties, but there's also something you have to let them play the game a little bit.
Very subjective.
I think the Jets game we had a few weeks ago in New York, I think we had
It's unbearable.
didn't we have the most penalties combined?
Yes.
Something like that.
It was a rough game.
So I think times like that, a lot of them were probably penalties, but also at a certain point, we all have to go home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they're getting ticky tacky, and
Yeah.
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 Oh, I thought I was turned off again. Oh.
No.
I'm kidding.
I can't hear anything.
I said nothing
see
to say, so
anything.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It is interesting that this team is 7-2. It would be interesting to revisit maybe during our bye. We'll go back and we'll take a look at what we predicted. In the
Yeah, that would be
preseason
interesting.
to see how we. Because I remember us. I think you had him at one time going 15-2, Kyle. And
I think I had him 2-15.
Yeah,
I think I had him 13-4
Right.
or something.
Right, you had
which
him in
which
2-15.
I think I'll be pretty close to 13-4 ish. I think. We'll see.
it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I don't
Well,
want to look too far ahead. But
It's good. I guess I just keep on coming back to the fact that I think we're gonna be in the same place we are for the last 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, where we win a playoff game, maybe 2, and that's about it. Which, I mean, normally, like 10 years ago, we would have killed for that, but we're not in the same space.
Everyone except for Sean picked the Bills
For
the Dolphins game.
And for a preseason.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
last week I had it closed, but the Bills.
Yeah, I
winning.
think a lot of people said we lose away and we win at home.
Everyone picked the Dolphins to win at home. I picked them to win on the road, but I did have them splitting 1-1.
Yeah, and then Kyle has the Bills next week. Dennis has got the Colts. Bren's got the Colts. Mike's got the Bills. Sean's got the Bills. Herb's got the Bills. So
talking about next week, I think
might as well.
some of us think that this might not be as easy as it seems.
100%. You know, I said it last week too that I thought it was going to be more of our trap game. So you know, I think that I actually think the Bills will win. In the preseason, I said that we would lose, but I think the Bills will win. But I think that it's going to be a lot different than originally thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I thought that Anthony Richardson would be farther along here and not sitting because he had to take a little timeout.
Let's talk about that. When's the last time you've ever seen that?
Never.
Quarterback in the NFL.
I've never seen that. I've never seen it in high school, college, anything.
Yeah.
I've never ever seen a quarterback pull himself out of the game.
Yeah.
And I think it was a third down too.
Yeah.
And you just don't see that kind of thing. Like you'll see the running back always, raise his hand up or whatever, the wide receiver.
Sure.
He runs 40 yards down the field, whatever, that's fine. But never a quarterback.
Well, and unfortunately, that's going to stick with him now, I think, for like the rest of his career, kind of.
The guy that tapped out.
Yeah, until he proves otherwise and, puts his body on the line or whatever, does something miraculous, everyone's going to say, this guy, he doesn't have it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think it's a mystery that right after he did that, he got pulled as a starting quarterback. Mm-hmm. So I think that was kind of like the last straw. Like he was already not doing that well. He had flashes. He has a great arm. He's very athletic, but I don't think that. I think they would wanted to play it out, let him play a little bit, get some experience. But I think that happened, and they're like, well, let's just cut our losses, and
right.
Makes you wonder how long they'll do it for. Flacco's serviceable. He did a lot of good things for the Browns last year. I watched a little bit of the game with him this weekend, and I don't think it was necessarily his fault. I think the team's just not really that good overall.
Yeah.
But how long will they make him sit?
True.
Till they're like, hey, we got to get this kid.
Well, I think maybe it depends on playoffs too. Like if they're like out of it,
Playoffs?
That kind of
Don't
thing.
talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
If the Colts happen to beat the Bills this weekend with Flacco, I'm sure they'll start Flacco for the next game.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
You got a Colts schedule up by chance, Sean?
I don't.
I'm
I'll
looking
take a
right
look.
now. Actually.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Silver Fox.
Because I am curious. So they're 4-5.
Yep.
They just lost to the Vikings, which it was a close game. It was 21-13, so a pretty close game. They lost to the Texans by 3. They beat the Dolphins 16-10 without Tua. They beat the Titans only by 3. They lost to the Jags. They beat the Steelers by 3.
Wow.
They beat the Bears by 5. They lost to the Packers by 6, and their first game of the season, they lost to the Texans by 2. So they play everybody tight. There are no blowouts on here. There are all one-score games. So it makes me think that their defense is halfway decent.
So we might be in for a match here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think their defense is decent. I think that they can get run on a little bit though too. Like I think if Amari Cooper's playing, I'd like to see that a little bit. And I think we talked earlier about the run game. I think our run game is very good. So I think we'll do all right.
Yeah, our run game has been fantastic. I mean, Davis has been, just a real shining light out there. Cook's doing his thing. We wish he would eliminate the drops. But, between him, Ty Johnson, and Davis, I mean, that's a nice three-headed monster you got there.
Yeah, Ty Johnson, he never hurts himself. Like he's the third guy, I think, clearly. But he never hurts himself. He's in there. He catches things, and that other backs don't. So I don't think you can look down on him too much.
Gentlemen, I'm going to jump the gun a little bit because I've got to see about a girl. We've got a date night tonight for that good old-fashioned presidential election. It comes every 4 years, so I'm going to give you my score. I'm going to give the Bills doubling up the Indianapolis Colts 26-13. I'm going to let you guys close out the podcast.
What kind of hot day do you have watching presidential coverage?
We are 2 history teachers, Kyle. That is kind of self-explanatory.
Wow.
I mean, if we were math teachers, you'd be on it. But kind of 2 history teachers. This is our date night.
All right, knock yourselves out. Have fun.
Once every 4 years.
All right, good luck.
Right.
Trump's crushing it right now.
Gentlemen, good luck tonight.
Knock wood.
See ya.
Good luck.
Okay, now that he's gone, let's talk shit.
No more pushbacks, I guess, huh?
The Bruins are losing 2-0 to Toronto.
Oh, no wonder he's leaving.
That's brutal.
Yeah. All right. See ya. See you soon. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that this could be a tighter game than people think, especially if we don't get some of these guys back. If we don't get Cooper back, if the Coleman injury sits him down for a week, your receiving core is looking shabby.
Oh, yeah. Real
I
rough.
mean, you got Shakir, and then you got Matt Collins, Samuel.
Curtis Samuel. You need Curtis Samuel to do something.
What happens if Cooper's still out and Coleman is out?
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
You need
yeah.
like you said, Curtis has got to step
need
up
some
big time.
Superman Josh Allen, I think, at that point.
No, you're going to need a huge game out of Kincaid and Knox.
Yeah.
Almost wonder if you got like a practice squad guy that you might throw out there too. I mean, 3 receivers, like
yeah. Well, I mean, Kincaid. You know, I feel like Kincaid. Everybody talks about him being
A stud.
being good, but I mean,
Numbers
no
don't
matter
lie.
what. Yeah, he's like 4 or 5 catches here or there. Nothing crazy yard wise. Every now and then he catches a touchdown, which that's good. But
I mean,
nothing crazy.
Shakira is your yak guy.
Oh, definitely.
yeah. Well, and you thought last year too, after Kincaid had a huge year, setting records, you know, team records for the Bills, that he was going to have a more prominent position on the offense. And you know, it's like you said, he makes a couple catches here and there, but other than that, you don't really notice him out there too much.
Yeah, no, and nothing like no catches that are like, you know, oh my God, I can't believe he caught that, you know, that kind of thing.
And he's not even necessarily the third down guy either.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, and he doesn't do all that well with blocking. So, you know, for the run game, he's probably out of there most of the time.
Yeah.
So,
when you watch the Bills offense and their passing plays, what kind of feeling do you get when you see these plays? Like, I still watch Josh Allen in his head and seeing if he actually is looking off guys. I still feel like he's always locked in on a side, and that's the side he ends up going to a lot.
You said that a few weeks ago, and I agreed with you there. I haven't really seen that like lately.
Yeah,
but maybe. I think that if he can escape the pocket to his right side, I think game over.
I guess I worded that wrong. Do you feel like a lot of the pass plays are like broken plays? Like there doesn't seem to be a ton of timing routes, right?
True. Yeah. Very little. In fact, the one like timing route kind of was the one that Coleman it bounced off his chest, and they intercepted it on the 3-yard line or 2-yard line, whatever it was.
Oh, is that the continued streak now for
he alerted,
interceptions?
Yeah, he alerted out of it. It was probably a run play, I'm guessing, because they like stacked the box. But he put it right on Coleman's like chest, like right. His hands were right there.
Went right through his hands off his chest,
exactly,
and picked off.
Yep. You couldn't have thrown it any better. He let him a little bit, but not too much. It was a perfect pass, really.
Shit.
But I mean, either way, you know.
Yeah, I mean, both his interceptions this year have been not really interceptions that he's thrown in the past.
Yeah, I think other years you're like, oh Jesus, like that's I think Andy Reid
doing too much.
in the NFL films, like you hear Andy Reid talking to Brett Favre about the rocket balls, and I think that's what Josh Allen was doing for a long time, but not as of late.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'm gonna do my pick for the Colts. The Bills and Colts. I'm gonna go with the Bills. I think it's gonna come down to another Bass field goal.
Maybe
Potentially. Indoors?
I think their defense is decent. We're struggling. When does the injury report come out? Like tomorrow?
Tomorrow or Thursday?
or both?
I think it comes out tomorrow. The first one, I think it's every day starting tomorrow, I think. Ugh. Except for Saturday. I think it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because there's practices, and then Saturday is usually a walkthrough. So whatever happens on Friday, that's kind of it.
Unless somebody gets hurt at the walkthrough.
yeah, obviously. But you would hope that people aren't getting hurt in walkthroughs.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to go Bills like, I don't know, 27-24 or 24-21 kind of a thing. I think the defense for Colts might be a little bit better than Miami's.
Yeah, it could be. I think I would go Bills, but I'm going to go Bills like I think Sean had it right, 26. I'm going to say 19 for the Colts.
Okay. Brendon?
Yeah, I think it really is going to hinge on some of these injuries. I think we can still pull it off, but obviously it's going to sound stupid, but the more injuries we have, the tighter this game is going to be.
True.
Yeah. But the team that scores the more points are going to win the game.
Good job.
Yeah. Job, man. Yeah, I think that the Bills can still pull it off. It's just a matter of will they. So I will. I'll go Colts 24, Bills 19.
There we go. Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So as of right now, ESPN Bet or whatever they use has got the Bills at 4-point favorites.
So it's really a 7-point favorite then, right?
Because they're away, yeah.
Yeah. And the over-under is 45.5.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's like
that's
21,
close.
24-ish game. Yeah.
We're right there.
Yeah. And shit, I mean, they called it on the Dolphins game. They gave them, what, +3?
Yeah, did you see that stat about Tua's passing line? And it was 250 or something like that. And he had 254 going into the last play. But because he passed it to Waddle and he ran backwards, it didn't cash.
Yeah,
that cost
I
him
heard
like
about
15
that.
yards or
Yeah.
something like that. And so
Yep.
it went under because of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's why I don't bet.
That's a tough one to lose on, you know?
Yeah. God dang. All right. Well, folks, I think that about wraps us up, right? Anybody got anything else?
I think so.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for listening and taking time out of your important life to listen to the ZaBillsPodcast. And keep an eye out for our next pizza review video.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
ZaBillsPodcast is a presentation of Kmart Productions, sponsored by MJB Electric and Dudzik Chiropractic. Thank you for listening, and if you haven't, please follow, rate, review the show. It helps with the algorithm. ZaBills is executively produced by me, Kyle. Executive sound engineering by yours truly, also me. Fundraising, also by Kyle. All artwork executively produced by Avery and Mark Rochon. What the heck is this? All music and lighting executively produced by Kyle. That's more like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Please drive carefully, arrive home safely. Good night.